Get ready with me as I discuss the most crazy, insane thing that happened this weekend and spill all of the tea. I've been talking for a long time on this app about friends that I had for a very long time that started acting really, really weird when good things started to happen in my life. And I feel like it was a very particular time because all of the good things happened all at once. I came out of a really, really bad, hard time that was like really fraught and stressful, and I had these friends around me at the time, and the way that we dealt with the pain that we were all kind of collectively going through was by hardcore partying and having pretty shallow friendships with one another. Like, none of us were committed to healing or growing out of that trauma. We were just literally numbing, and I would say that all of our relationships were like less than what we actually truly needed, what our authentic selves really actually truly needed. And I was just like in that mindset and in that mind frame. And then I decided, no, I'm going to go on a healing journey. I'm going to actually face myself. I'm going to face these things. I'm going to recover from the hardships that led me to this low place, and I'm going to become a better person. And I spent a year just kind of being alone, not really being around these friends because they weren't about the business of healing. They were about the business of numbing and talking shit about people and using material things to feel good about themselves and going to live shows and just like doing things that distracted them from the pain that they were in, and not demanding more for their relationships, not demanding more for themselves, just like existing, basically surviving. And so I naturally kind of like alienated myself from them because I needed to be around people that like were committed to a higher frequency of living. Q2, this last year, I met my soulmate. I leveled up in my career. I was able to quit my 9-to-5 job, and they're still in their hustle and grind jobs. And I was able to just create and like come home and be a content creator. And I glowed up like in my physical looks because I wasn't drinking as much. I lost a lot of weight because I stopped drinking alcohol. And it was like everything just really good started to happen for me. I got engaged. I moved to an amazing house. And I don't say this to flex. I say all the time that when you heal and you level up, your entire life levels up. When you level up your internal life, your external life also levels up. And so that's what happened all at once. But because they weren't willing to heal and they weren't willing to level up, because that would take sifting through some hard shit and being alone, their life didn't change much and mine did. And I saw them slowly but surely not be happy for me, be passive aggressive towards me. And like the absolute cherry on top of all of this was I invited them into my new home for Easter, and they came into my home and I provided food and drinks, and more than that, I gave them my love. More than that, I focused on them. I tried to be loving to them the whole time, even though they were acting completely out of pocket to me leading up to this party. They were so mean and so disrespectful to my face. It was obvious that they hated me. It was obvious that they were trying to fake that they liked me, but they actually hated me, and they were totally disrespectful to my husband now, but he was pretty much my fiance at the time. And so after that, I was like, no more. We're done with this. I am not going to be around these people anymore. They clearly don't like me. They clearly hate me. Like, I need a minute. I need to step back and I need a minute. And when I made that decision for myself, they caught on to my change in energy and then switched it on me as if it was my fault that I was stepping away from the relationship and that I was being crazy and I was being emotional and out of pocket. In reality, I was having common response. They were experiencing consequences for the way that they were treating me. And you can't go through life treating people like shit and expect to not have consequences. There are consequences to behavior. So I created a couple TikTok videos here dealing with my stress and pain, not thinking that they were going to watch them, because another thing that they did was never acknowledge my TikTok, never acknowledge anything I created because they were jealous of it. And so I just figured they weren't going to see these videos. Well, of course, they watched the videos and dispersed them amongst each other and then created even more of a narrative that I was unhinged and I was going off on them and they were the victims. In reality, I was responding and trying to cope with the loss of all my friends who turned into secret haters overnight for a myriad of reasons. There were a lot of other factors in play, one of which is their men, their boyfriends, their husbands are influenced by other males in my life, and they can't do anything that their boyfriends or husbands don't approve of. And so they were being pick-me-shas and following along with their boyfriends and husbands. And deciding to, for whatever reason, not like me anymore. But suffice it to say, they made the decision long ago, and I just started to react in kind and respond in kind, and I no longer was putting up with their behavior and ignoring it and then pretending that everything was fine and we were all friends. I was actually responding and being authentic to what was really happening. Okay, so that's the background story. Cue to this weekend. I had an amazing weekend with my man. We went to a show. We had so much fun together. It's been months and months since I've even had these people in my life. I blocked all of them because once I stepped away from the relationship, they all of a sudden got really interested in my TikToks, and they were watching my TikToks, and then I would see that one of them would save the TikTok. Yes, I can see that on my end. They were saving the TikToks about random things. Like I posted a cute little video of my husband and I shopping for tuxedos. They saved that one. So I know for a fact that they're using that to make fun of my husband, which is disgusting. And so I blocked them all. I said, you don't have access to me anymore. If you're going to use my content to literally make fun of me like you're mean girls from 8th grade, like no. So I blocked them, and I'm out here living my best life like a newlywed. I wake up yesterday morning, I post my recent video on TikTok, and then I see that I had a missed voicemail from a male in this scenario, who I won't mention who this is to protect people that are innocent and don't deserve to be dragged into drama by adults. But he had accidentally recorded himself and all of these haters out. They were all out together at a show, and he recorded a 20-minute voicemail of them talking, and I heard the entire conversation. They were talking about me the entire night. All they were talking about was how they couldn't believe that I was married so fast, and how I just walked out on them, and how crazy I am, and how unhinged I am, and how they were there for me and I walked out of the friendship. Their whole narrative that they're spinning, that, you know, it was me that walked out on the friendship and it was me that was crazy. No, I was having a requisite response to poor behavior and abuse and passive aggressiveness and jealousy. And it was just an entire tirade about my life and my past. They love to bring up my past because they want to define me by my past. And my current present, I've leveled up so intensely and literally been nothing but like respectful to them. And I've really tried to keep my side of the street clean. So they have nothing to talk about present day, because present day, their side of the street is filthy. Mine is clean as can be. And I have never tried to harm them present day. I'm just vibing and thriving, and they hate that. And so they literally were just talking all about my past, things that happened decades ago, to try to define me and say that I'm this terrible person. And I sat there and listened to it in shock that these were all people that I had considered, like, for decades, really close friends of mine, utterly trashing me for an entire evening. And not only that, they weren't talking about anything else. They weren't talking about projects that they're doing or relationships that they're in that are fulfilling or exciting good things happening in their lives. No, none of that. They spent the entire night spending time with each other at a concert, talking shit about me. How sad. Can you imagine? Like, and this is why jealous people will literally destroy you and rip you apart, because they have nothing in their lives to talk about that is worthy. They're doing nothing that is exciting or that is good or that is happy. They're on such a low vibration that the minute you level up, they are all about the business of just trashing you. Like, imagine that being your identity. And then at the end of the voicemail, I hear one of the other men in the group say to this man who's recording it, "Oh my gosh, you've been recording for 20 minutes. Who's on the phone? Who did you call? Who did you butt dial?" And he looks at his phone and realizes it's me, and they all scream, and then the call ends. I mean, I can't make this stuff up. As much as I had walked away from these people, it was so extremely hurtful to hear people that I called my family, that I tried to be nothing but kind to when I was friends with them. I was so giving, I was so loyal, and they not only turned their backs on me and started to secretly hate me because they were jealous of me, they're now trying to spin this narrative altogether that I'm the one that walked away. Meanwhile, I'm here by myself while they all hang out together and talk shit about me and trash me for an entire evening while they're together. It is totally surreal. It is very hurtful. It honestly is really, really devastating, but proves to me even more that I needed to get out of that toxic situation and walk away from jealous people.